friends, and welcome back to the channel. Nina here. What you see before you is everything that is in the new creator kit by PEACEMAKER. It's the Grange Mudroom Kit. I have laid out all of the swatches of everything here, including the floors, which are on the other side, and I'll get into why that is in a minute. It's a bug issue. But you can see here all of the wainscoting on the walls and all of their color variations, and here are all of the floor tiles that are available. And then on the other side of the wall, we have all of the solid walls out behind the cabinets and such. And I did it that way because you can see it's just a solid pattern, but it does coordinate very nicely with those wainscoting walls. So let's get into what we have first. We have this, the Gillum hallway rug, which is a nice little wider runner than you would usually see. So it can be a rug or it could be a runner. And it comes in 10 colors. And then 10 colors coordinate with the wall colors, which coordinate with the furniture colors. And everything has at least 10 swatches that are clutter. There are a few clutter items there are 12 of, though. You have these little Wellington boots down here, which are so adorable. I'll go ahead and just let's open up the panel so you can see all of the objects at one time. And I'll just open up here and then I'll go ahead and filter it out by the Grange Mudroom pack. And once I do that, you'll be able to see here all of the items that are in the pack, not including the floor and the wallpapers, which are, of course, in the build options. So as you can see, we have the Grange Firm bench seat. And again, there are 10 swatches and they're all here laid out in front of you. The bench color changes, as does the pillow for some of them. The Grange hallway table, which has this little built-in baskets, and they do change as you change the color of the swatches also. The surface has 3 slots for small things, and sometimes more depending on the size of the object that you're placing. So because it's a tiny plant, you can fit the picture back there also. Not everything will fit, up there, but it's just how slots do. I put the shoes up there just to get them shown because they're kind of small and I didn't think you could see them on the ground very well, but normally no, I would not put shoes up there. And then you have the Grange sideboard, which again, 10 swatches, no baskets in there. It does have slots on top. And I'm guessing if you wanted to, you could even use it like a sideboard in the dining room and use it for serving food. Our clutter items are this picture, which is like a no shoes type of sign, and it changes colors. There are 2 variations with the foot and just the words, and then the shoe, and then the frames change. You have this tiny plant, this larger plant, the hydrangeas, and these sneakers, obviously. But there's also this thing, like if you came in and you had mail in your packages and you just set it down, so it's a little cluttery, but not in the wrong place. That's what that is. And then you have the sunglasses and keys that you could just toss anywhere, and I think that's actually what it's literally called. Um, so you have the sorted out later pile of mail and pop down somewhere glasses and keys. So yeah. Now, um, this hydrangeas are really cute to me too. And then we have this hideaway clutter basket and the handy dandy bag. And those go into the slots on the surfaces, but also in the shelving. But if you put it in, it has to go either on the top shelf or the bottom shelf. And the things that go in the middle can only be these tiny things like the sunglasses. And here I'm trying to pick up the sunglasses, but they're small and I keep grabbing the table. Give me a second. I'll get it together. Okay, there we go. So you see how they fit up there and only in that one spot. So you know how slots are just weird like that if you've been playing for a while. You know that they'll just fit in certain places and not others. Um, and that's pretty standard. That's an EA thing and not at all about the creator. So, and then of course, you do have some things that if you want them to be in the middle, they're big, so they have to be on the table by themselves. So you can place your things accordingly. But anyway, the boots will also fit into the slots, but it just seemed weird to, put them up there when it would take up a lot of space on the surface, and I wanted to show everything all at once. And then these closets here don't have any shelves or anything, but they are functional, I think. We'll test that out in a second too. Um, and I just like that it kind of looks like they're built in because they match the walls so well, and everything is sort of a seamless look when they're side by side. So you could make it look like that if you wanted to in your build. And then this picture frame shelf thing is got 12 swatches, um, which kind of threw me off. I wasn't expecting that, and it made me have to sort of try to get them all out there a little creatively, but it's fine. It gives you a lot of variety to coordinate with the things around you, and also with things that aren't in this pack but are just in the other packs that you have. And so I'm really excited to be able to have these things available in the game, because I think it'll just make your space feel a little more homey, and it's not like you have to go out and find the custom content now, because this is, basically a custom content creator giving us some really great stuff. And I love that you can just um, pull these things out, coordinate them with other things. These colors are, pretty standard, so you shouldn't have too much trouble coordinating with the other items in the game. But they are just make it look a little lived in and not quite so sterile, because, in real houses, you have a little bit of clutter here and there, and it's not just laundry on the floor or something like that. So there's 5 mirrors. No, 6, because I can't count. Um, and they coordinate nicely with all the other things as well, even though they're not quite the same color palette. But it gives you some options, and I think it would work, in a bedroom or a bathroom too. It's a pretty cool mirror, um, and you can really sort of see how the aesthetic could be used all through the house, and you don't really have to limit yourself to it just being a mudroom. But also in a mudroom, you might come in and have a mirror. You could add a sink from, base game or something too, where you might clean off after you've been out in the garden or whatever. um, so let's get into this bug that I experienced. So when you have these shelves already filled with clutter, and some of these surfaces already have clutter on top of them, and if you go to place a floor, those items are going to disappear into your inventory. At least they're not lost forever, but you see here how they're turning yellow when you're trying to place the floor. It means they're going to disappear, and they do. And it took me a while to figure out what was happening. But basically, if you're anywhere within one tile of that flooring, it's going to go away. And then you have to put it back. So I highly recommend that you place your floor, settle on your color before you do any cluttering. Save the clutter for last so that you don't have to put everything back again, because that is frustrating. Or I guess you could just move the item, change the floor, but who wants to do all that? So just, do your basic building first and then save the clutter for the end. Now, I want to be clear that this is not a pack issue. This is an EA issue, because I did go and check it with, other objects. And it's just a thing. And you get used to EA having things like that go on, I guess, and you learn to work around them. So there's your workaround. Just put the floor down, get everything settled, and then go ahead and clutter, so you don't have to go back and change a lot of stuff. And it only seems to be in this particular case with that sideboard and the closets with the shelves. It doesn't do it for the one with the baskets. I don't know why that is, but it is. Anyway, you play this game for a while, you get used to the weird little bugs that happen. So anyway, I wasn't in the mood to move that furniture or put all that stuff back, so I just didn't put the floor tiles under the furnishings. But you'll get to see how they look together, because I will decorate a little space as if I were making a mudroom, and you can see how they work together. But at any rate, the thing about the floors is that the floors are also, really well coordinated with this other stuff, which I think I said before, but still, it's a big deal to me because I hate when you have a pack and it feels like it's just missing stuff. Um, and it feels like, if only they had made us a floor that coordinated. If only we had another, chair that matched. Why is this a different color? And I love that the swatches are in the same order for all of the pieces so that you're not, getting confused. It's easy to say, oh, this was the third swatch I used, and just go and see the third swatch in the other piece of furniture and it will match. But that's the thing about Peacemaker. Now, if you don't know Peacemaker, his custom content is amazing. And if you can use custom content and want to try out some without putting a lot of load on your game, because I know you've probably heard that is stressful to your game, Peacemaker is a good place to start. His stuff is Max's Match. It blends in beautifully. And my favorite part is that he creates custom content that will expand on the sets that EA gives us. So, you know how you get a little frustrated sometimes because EA will give you some of the windows but not all the sizes. Well, Peacemaker comes in and he fills that out so you have a complete set of things. He sees where there's gaps and it could be better because he likes to use them in his game. We get to benefit from it. And it's a good place to just play around and look and see what rounds out your game and makes it feel a little better if you're interested in doing that. Definitely go over there. He's friendly. He's helpful if you're trying to find something and send him a message on Tumblr. He's usually pretty good about giving you the link to it. And if you have any problems, he's really great about trying to help you figure out what's going on in your game, that his stuff might not work like it's supposed to. And it doesn't put a lot of strain, it doesn't take up a lot of space. Um, so please go check him out, send him some love, and if you want to, you can even use his creator code, which I will put in the description when you buy the pack, so he'll get a little extra love for the work that he's done. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and spend a little bit of time building. Well, I am. You're gonna come back and it'll all be done. I was started a new save, just created some random sim, and she likes blues and browns and burgundies, so I'm gonna stay in those tones and give her a place to just sit, see what she thinks of it. Hopefully she'll like the furniture, and if it does, it will be something that I do use when I bring her into the save where London lives. And you'll see this stuff again, and probably in London's house too. I'm just going to be honest with you. So, anyway, I will be back after I do a little bit of building, and we'll see what I can come up with. Hey friends, we're back. I did some decorating. I lowered the walls to a medium height because the tall was just so tall. It seemed kind of unrealistic that you would do this sort of decorating in that space. And I had only used the tall wall so that I could fit everything out from the pack in as few walls as possible so that I could stack those cabinets like that. So with the medium, it still gives you enough to build up and over. If you had used the regular height wall, you don't have enough room for those cabinets to sit on top of the closets, but I guess you could run across the middle, but then the mirror wouldn't fit. So anyway, I went with the medium size wall. The only thing I can say about this pack is I would have kind of loved some curtain or window dressing to be included and maybe play off the rug a little bit. But it's not that big a deal. I'm sure I can find something in the game that would work. So I used it like I had wanted to try, and it does go together nicely. It really gives you a nice built-in look there with the bench and the shelving, and it really looks like this is just all one unit that was installed attached to the wall, and then you have your storage there. And I only put that one cabinet down sort of halfway low so that you could see that you can sit stuff on top of those cabinets also, which might be something you would want to do. I don't know how you want to build in your game. I probably wouldn't put anything that low, but it's always an option. And I'm kind of wondering if it might be able to go over a sink maybe and give you that kind of look, but that's something I'll play with when I'm using more things than just this pack. So you can put the mirror, but the mirror will stop the kind of clutter that you can sit in front of it because you don't want to obstruct the mirror, obviously. But I mean, I feel like that's sort of a thing that you would do in real life too once you're mirror accessible. And I wanted to see if she was going to get any moodlets about the decor, and she didn't, but she doesn't hate it either, so that's a good thing. And then let's just try out the closet, and it does function as a closet. Both of them will, so we can just change her outfit because she just got home from work and she wants to get into something a little more cozy and comfortable. So she could do that right there, in that space right there. And if you had a pool or something, she could change back into her regular clothes from her swimsuit. You know, just sort of like you might actually use that space for if it were a real life room. And then if you're gonna have your Sims take their shoes off, that could happen right there. And there they go. They sit their shoes on the floor until they're ready to leave the house. It'd be nice to have like some little slippers there just for effect too, that they're gonna change into slippers. But it's fine. Those are things that you could definitely add from other parts of the game. I think there are some little slippers, or if you use CC, obviously you can go get those. But it's not the biggest deal. It doesn't affect gameplay. It's just purely an aesthetic thing. So do you. Anyway, so Yvette seems pretty content in this space. She's thinking about love because that's what she does. She's a love bug, I think. And so we're going to use the bench and see that you can go and you can sit there. The stuff on the wall does not interfere with that at all. It lets you do both. So you can hang up your coat, sit down. Maybe that's where you change your shoes, that kind of thing. That they're probably going to sit and talk there too, but, whatever. But I also think that it would work in, if you wanted to do a build that was like a church or had a waiting room or something, this stuff would work there nicely too, maybe. So if they did sit there and talk, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world anyway. And I like that these pieces will sort of blend in nicely, I think, in a few different style of home where you're going to have a mudroom. They're sleek enough to be considered modern. The fixtures sort of still give them a little bit of a homey and traditional feel. It's up to you how you want to use it, and I would love to see what you all do with the kit as you do stuff. So go ahead, put it on the gallery, and you can tag Sim Sisters, and we can take a look and see what you do with the kit. So I really like everything in this kit. No complaints. The things that I would like to have, they don't affect it. My liking it at all. I'm really happy with it. And I mean, I expect nothing less from Peacemaker than this level of quality, though. I will say, I'm not sure, but I think that the stuff that you get from his site, if you were getting this custom content, are a little more high poly than the ones that are here. But it's not really a complaint because, if you want to keep your game running light, this is the way to go. And if you can't use CC for whatever reason, now you can experience some of his work right here in the game. And I will probably use some combination of both, and you'll see that going forward. So if you haven't already, go check out Sharma's review of the Essential Glam Creator Kit. Cast is her thing and building is more mine. And so she took care of that kit while I did this kit. And she had some good stuff to say about that pack too. So, any rate, I will see you all next week with another installment of the Proud Parent scenario, and we'll see how London is making out with that baby. So you all be safe until then, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.